Well, how to meditate, Jyoti meditation. Of course, we've all practiced it at the center. But when you read the Dhyana Vahini, it's an amazing compilation of Baba's thoughts around a lot more, almost the prerequisites required for meditation, right? And it's not actually that much about the art of meditating itself. So I thought that was extremely intriguing and personally very fulfilling to go through it. And I'm hoping we all get a chance to do the same this summer. So what we're going to do today, as typical when we start to do these study circles, is I'd like to ask all of our help together to make it a real session, okay? Don't worry, we're not going to meditate today. Today is an introduction to the Dhyana Vahini, and we all are going to introduce these topics to ourselves, okay? So I'd like to ask everybody to make this a real experience this morning, and a real honest experience. I believe our connection with Swami is personalized. I know many of you believe that. We also believe that the power of satsang helps us. But for me, satsang means sharing and caring about all of you, and then personalizing of what that means to me and how can I become a better, more realized human being. So what I'm requesting this morning is participation, independent thoughts, okay, because that is our sadhana. Typically what happens in the study circle, we'll ask a question, and we'll open up the floor, right? And we'll try to fish for answers, and there's a pause and people aren't ready and so on, right? I'd like to try something a little different, which we've done before, but not as often, where, we are all enabled to share our independent thoughts in a non-threatening, anonymous way even, so that we are more forthcoming, and then we can analyze those thoughts together and determine how to connect the dots on this very important topic, right? So always my philosophy, personal connection to Swami, is less theory and more practice. How do we put some of these very deep teachings into practice? So today I request that we ask Swami for his energy, pray to him that we come together in this wonderful satsang and start to investigate and explore the Dhyana Vahini as a result. And obviously we'll make mistakes, but the prayer to Swami is that he'll forgive us, and he'll make us even better after the session than we were before, collectively. So thank you in advance for your participation. So let's start participation right away. Remember what I said about honesty, and I'd like you to answer this question: have you read the Dhyana Vahini? And it's an honest answer. When you respond to this, no one's going to see that you responded, but I want to just get a collective feeling from all of us if we've ever read Dhyana Vahini. I had not. Until 8 p.m. last night, I had no idea what it was, to be perfectly honest. And the last 12 hours have been very enlightening. But I want to ask if you've read the Dhyana Vahini. You answer this question very simply by doing one of the two things that's on top of this screen. You either go to polev.com/SciCenter949 and answer this question and submit. Or if you find it easier, you can text to 22333. That's the number on your phone. Just text the word SciCenter949 to 22333. Then when you get a confirmation back, you just respond A or B, okay, to this question. A is no, B is yes, okay? So if you can do that for me right now, I would appreciate it. Please give it a try. If there are any questions, open your mic and let me know.
John, on poll EV, it says it's waiting for the presentation to begin. Have you opened it up for polling?
Let's see. How about now?
Yes, it's open now.
Okay. Thank you. And in a minute, we'll see everybody's responses summarized. So very simple question, yes or no or yes. Have you read the Dhyana Vahini anytime before? And please be honest. Once again, the instructions are on the top. It's easy. You can either go to the site or you can text to 22333, the words Sai Center 949, one word. Then you'll join the question and then you can answer A or B. A is no, B is yes. Has everybody had a chance to do this? Does anybody need more time? Please be honest.
Yes, we all said, Bhaiya.
Sandeepa, you can't, we can't be all set. You can be set, but others might not.
And John, Christian here, just one other thing, yeah. On the poll itself, it's not an A or a B. I think for the texting, it's A or B, but on the poll, it's no or yes, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
Thank you, Krishna. Perfect. Good point. Anyone need more time? Please feel free to chime in. Okay. So you are exactly as prepared and in need of the summer series as I was and still am. It's 63 pages. It's a wonderful compilation, completely surprising. Baba always surprises me. This was no exception. You know, I had not even thought of this Vahini, to be perfectly honest. Great. So we are in for lots of learning, which is great. Okay, let's move along. Go to the next slide. Oops. Okay, the next one is, next question is, again, please be honest and real. Do you engage in regular meditation? Do you engage in regular meditation? Same process. Now you don't, if you've already texted, you're probably already in the group, if you will. All you have to do is put A or B there, or in pollev.com, you just answer the question.
John, it's not advanced to the current question yet, yeah. It's still with the previous question for me on poll EV.
You just have to,
Yes, yes or no?
yeah, well, you can just refresh your page, just go back into
Yeah,
pollev.
that's all it was. It was refreshing. Thanks.
Yeah, perfect. Anyone need more time? Please chime in. We want everybody to participate. There's no rush. We will get through everything we need to. Okay, so let's see what we got. So most of us do not. That's about half and half. Engaging, and I'm very proud of everybody on this call. I would have thought there would be more no's, but it's nice that we have our fellow brothers and sisters actually engaging in some sort of regular meditation. But majority of us do not. Again, consistent with my own personal experiences. I feel so close to you guys. We're all connected. We're all the same. Oops. And here's a interesting question, and I promise this is the last question for a bit. So why should one meditate? Why should one meditate? So please answer this question as how you feel about it today, right now, without reading the Dhyana Vahini or whatever comes to mind. Why do you think one should meditate? Is it to get through a personal crisis? Is it to calm the mind? And it could be more than one of these, but just select the best one, the one that most closely resonates with you. Praying for good things to happen to you, your family, your community, etc. Keeps one out of trouble and distractions, helps us think about God, improves the way we feel or how we feel. It protects us. Some of us may feel like it protects us from evil and bad thoughts. And maybe there's something else that resonates with you that's not on this list, and in which case you would select other. Okay, so A, B, C, D, E, F, G, or H. If you're texting and if you're on poll EV, refresh your page and then answer the question. Anyone need more time? Please let us know. Okay, that's great. Let's see how we did. So a overwhelming majority of us feel like we should meditate to calm our minds, to still our minds perhaps. And I would say probably one person or so believes it's something completely different than what's on this list. Very interesting response. Let's see how we feel after the next 20 minutes or so. If we change our mind on any of these, that would be the litmus test. Okay, so we are going to move along. Thank you for, oh shoot, sorry, I lied. One more question, guys, and then I promise I'll stop with the questions. The final question for the moment is, what is the difference between prayer and meditation to you? What is the difference between prayer and meditation to you? Now, in this case, what you're doing is you're just typing in a short answer. There's no multiple choice. There's no yes or no. You're just free-handing what you think the difference is between prayer and meditation to you. Is there a difference? Maybe there isn't. But if there is, what do you think is different for you? So again, text your message or join by the website. I will give you an extra minute because you have to type your thoughts.
John, could you just activate the poll, please?
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you. Great. My apologies. It's active now. Your responses will be completely confidential. No one's going to know it's yours. Just pour your heart out as to how you think about this. Make it real, and we'll share everybody's response collectively in a minute. See, what's really important, the reason I took some time to create these questions is what's really, really important to me is how you individually feel about it. If we were to open up the phone lines and talk about this, we tend to, what happens is human nature is to build on what each other says, First, we'll thank the previous person for what they said, and then we'll capitalize on it and we'll say, as so-and-so said, I feel the same. This provides a neutral ground for you to really dig inside. And that's why we're taking the time to do this. So thank you for helping with this activity. Does anybody need more time? Please chime in. We will wait.
Yeah, a couple minutes, please.
Sure.
I mean, or a minute, sorry.
Okay, tick-tock, Monica. Sorry. Monica, you can't be the only honest person. I'm sure that other people need time. Chime in, guys. We want to do a good job on this. We'll feel better at the end. All right, 30 more seconds. Please mute if you're not talking. I think a few people are off mute. Okay, we're going to move on in about 10 seconds, all right? And show the responses. Some of these are amazing. Oh my God, look at you guys. I love it. Meditation, inviting God to staying with you. Oh. Turns out you don't need to read the Dhyana Vahini. You already know it. Now you should read it. Prayer is loud and active. Meditation is silent and internalized. Meditating is listening to God's words. Get constant integrated awareness. Prayer, when done in, oh, look at these gems. Oh my goodness. Prayer is singing bhajans, slokas. Meditation is focusing our mind to God. Meditation is speaking to God within. Meditation might establish a more direct connection with myself than prayer. Prayer is for believers of an external subject is in control. Meditation is for believers, I am God. Wow. These are so profound, I think. And again, there's no right or wrong. It's just discovery. That's what we're doing here. Look at this. Very good, guys. Very good. Thank you for all of these thoughts. I hope you found them enriching and connecting and very individual, right? As much as I did. So thank you. All right, let's move along a little bit. So prayer versus meditation. What does Baba say about this, right? There are two roads to fulfill prayer and meditation. Prayer makes you a supplicant at the feet of God. Meditation or dhyana induces God to come down to you and inspires you to raise yourself to him. I love this. Inspires you to raise yourselves to him. It's almost like taking ourselves to his level, whereas prayer is bowing before him. Again, power on both, but different perspective. Tends to make you come together, not place one in a lower level and the other on a higher level. Right from Satya Sai Speak. So many of you said things that supports this thought from Baba himself. Okay, we're on to the next question. Deciding between one action over another. You know, we are in our lives, we always decide, we are always making a decision. So let's say you have a decision to either take action A or action B. How do you make that decision? How do you today make that decision? Again, share your thoughts. I'm going to activate this in the same way that you shared the last thoughts, right? Deciding between one action over the other, how do you make the choice? It's a simple but profound question, and hopefully you'll feel the same way after we review it. So again, a couple minutes to get your thoughts together. Think about it a little bit, right? It's a seemingly simple question, but it requires a little bit of discovery. How do you decide between action A or action B? Assuming you have, for simplicity's sake, a binary or, you know, do this or do that action. How do we decide? Action A, action B in front of you. How do you make the decision? What thought process do you go through? Anyone need more time? Please chime in. I'll give you one more minute. We do this day in and day out. Perhaps every few minutes you might be deciding between one action or the other, right? Okay, 30 seconds. Finish your thoughts. Please submit them. Excellent. We got 16 results. So I think most of us, if not everybody, has had a chance to do this. So here we go. Choose the easier one, human nature. Does it hurt versus help? Excellent. Whatever our heart says the right thing to do is, oh, very interesting. Right and truthful and helpful to others. Think before selecting to act on. How would Swami want us to act? Beautiful. Choosing the right option that may be disliked by others is tough for me. Which action will have the greatest good to the most people? Try to listen to my heart. Which one is better for me, for my community, for my happiness? Great. Prayer for me is more natural than any time taught and learned from childhood. Meditation is more disciplined, structured process. Okay, ideal state. I usually try to listen to my heart over my mind. Which action will Swami approve? Think. That's profound. Okay, this is really good, right? Now, I'm going to open up the mic a little bit. Why are we asking this question if the topic is Dhyana, Vahini and meditation? What does a decision between action A or action B have to do with meditation? Any thoughts? This wasn't just a crazy question or a random question. There was a reason for it. I'd like to hear what you think the reason is, especially after you reviewed some of these responses.
Probably helps in deciding faster than before.
Yes, and why is that important, Sandeep? Why do you think that's important? Why is speed of action important in the context of meditation?
So when you meditate, and I mean, like the name says, I was just trying to reflect on the name itself. That's Dhyana Vahini. That's when you get into the habit of looking inward and spending that time. There's a kind of a solid connection that is getting established, I guess.
Yeah.
So in which case you don't have to think too much before deciding something which is right.
Very good. Other thoughts to add to what Sandeep is saying? Why is how you decide between action A or action B that
To me, mind try to act pretty fast, and we have to slow our mind down before we react, and that's what you have to take a pause and listen to your own Swami within yourself. So mind takes to the ego part. Your ego will tell you, drive you your decision in one way or other way, and you need to just take a pause and slow down and think, go within, what is the right thing to do at that point. So maybe take a pause, don't react, and then you will get the answer from the Swami within yourself.
Fantastic. How many of you agree or disagree with what Sandeep Bhai just said? You're free to disagree.
Agree.
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 Okay. Anybody disagree? Come on. Well, it is very interesting, right?
So John,
Yes.
Krishnan here. I think I'd go back to how you started off the satsang today, saying theory versus practice.
Right.
I truly understand Sandeep's buying as the right theory to put in place. Practice for me is where I think what Sandeep Bhai talked about, the ego piece, right? And that still comes into play and makes it difficult. So yeah, it is an agreement, but the reality of theory versus practice is how I answered this. Yeah, Sarah.
Excellent. Well, the interesting thing is Swami would disagree with all of us. At least from what I understood by reading some of the scriptures as I prepared for this. So I could be wrong. But the way this connects to meditation is you don't want to think. You want to make these decisions at lightning speed. You want to cultivate yourself to make decisions at lightning speed, so much so that you're confident that Swami's teachings are all in there. The common answer to this question is you stop and think and say what Swami's going to do. That's what we learn a lot. But as we climb up that spiritual ladder, what Swami wants us to do is have that be in our bloods, right? Like we already know, we don't have to think. And the reason this connects to meditation is what Swami is saying is to meditate and bring God closer to you. You have to have a free mind. You cannot be cluttered in your mind on second guessing your actions, trying to pause, trying to take the ego out. Those are sort of the learning processes that we go through, but we've got to aspire to be making these things really quickly so our mind is freer and freer to contemplate on God. And until we can do that, Dhyana Vahini basically tells us we're not ready, you know? And this was profound to me, okay? And that's why I wanted to share it. So another question that comes up here, and you don't have to answer this, is, can you train somebody to meditate? Right? Can we train? Can we have a class on meditation? There are lots of classes on meditation, right? We do classes at the center. We've done them before. There's professional classes, etc. You know, people pay a lot of money to go to a transcendental meditation class. You know, they're all over. I had looked at them at one point, hundreds of dollars, perhaps thousands of dollars to take a meditation class. And they are useful. But what Swami says is, can we actually claim to train people? It is possible to teach a person the mechanics, the pose, the positioning, you know, where you're supposed to sit, what time of the day you're supposed to meditate, the style of breathing, the speed. But meditation, Swami says, is a function of the inner person, inner man. It involves deep, subjective, quiet, and emptying of the mind. It's very personal. You have to experience it, and everyone experiences it differently based on their connection with their maker. And this is a discipline that no textbook or teacher can actually communicate. It's one of the only few things where you have to experience to really learn it. But yes, you can take classes. We can talk about the techniques part of it, but you can't fully train somebody without going through them. So let's go back to the Dhyana Vahini. So what I thought I'd do is I you know, obviously read through quite a bit of this book. And just as a quick summary, and again, we're going to explore all of this during the rest of the summer. And there's so much in there, right? Besides the technique part. Swami talks about the power of meditation, right? Why do you meditate to begin with? And there's a ton of stuff in this chapter that explains, you know, the benefits in real terms. And one of the easiest ways, he says in chapter 2 to start, is chant. Chanting the name of the Lord is the simplest, no training required method of getting into the swing of things. He also then, and it's interesting how the book his thoughts are organized, right? They're organized somewhat sporadically. Baba always has a reason for how he structured it. And the Dhyana Vahini has been recomposed and rewritten. I think back in the mid 2000s, they refreshed it. And I think the ebook is lovely. There's several versions of it, several, but in the version that I read, chapter 3 was all about having a goal for meditation. So it's very goal oriented. And, one of the things, Swami, I'm going to just fast forward here, is back in 2008, does anybody remember this major change that they made in Purti, because Baba asked that we move from or change this Loka Samasta Sukhinu Bhavantu chant to Samasta Loka Sukhinu Bhavantu. Anybody remember why he did this? Or what was the purpose? Why move from Loka Samasta in our prayers to Samasta Loka? Open mics and please share your thoughts.
I think because like Loka Samasta is like you.
I can't hear you. You got to speak closer to the mic.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, perfect, Vipender.
Yeah. So like Loka Samasta is like you were considering one lok, and then Swami says there are multiple loks like us. So that's why he changed it to Samasta Loka. I think that was the expression given to me that time. Maybe not.
That's right. That's right. But you're defining Loka Samasta and Samasta Loka with Loka and Loka Samasta. So someone else add to Dipender's explanation. Dipender's completely correct, but I want to make it more real for us a little bit. What's the difference? What's the difference between Loka Samasta and Samasta Loka?
The entire universe, we're praying now for the entire universe.
Yeah. So I thought, naive me, had no idea until I reviewed this last night. I thought, I'm not very good with the Sanskrit words and everything being brought up here and all of those good things. I've got a lot of excuses. Bear with me as I give you my excuses. But I thought it was about, we shouldn't just pray for us. We should be praying for more than us, the worlds, right? I think most of us took away that. But as I started, this was deeper. There was a deeper meaning. So what he's really saying with Samasta Loka is let all the worlds be happy, and thereby all the beings in the worlds be happy. The earlier mantra, Loka Samasta, was only referring to this world. The new mantra refers to all of the worlds, which is obviously a broader outlook. But here's what I find very interesting about all the worlds. If we say we're praying for not me, but you and our center and our community, we're praying for others, right? That's great. We at least connect. We have an attachment to each other. We have an attachment to our society that we see. When he's talking about other worlds, he's talking about praying for people or planets or universes that we have no idea about, right? He's saying you need to pray. You need to keep people that you can't even see, touch, or feel in your prayers. That's what the world needs. So it's not only about praying for, I shouldn't pray for myself only, but I should pray for, my fellow man. It's about the man, woman, child, animal, beast, aliens, whatever, that we don't even know, right? And he talks about this in a different way in Dhyana Vahini, about, connecting to beings or universes that we don't even know. He also talks about achieving Atmic bliss and what that means. Why is meditation food for our Atma? Why it's eternal, like the stream, ever flowing, right? Ever flowing. Then he starts talking about in chapter 7 about being centered on God and keeping God and remembering God. From there on, of course, this one I relate to even more is the one-pointedness. Sandeep had mentioned that earlier. One-pointed, increased focus, right? And of course, later he also talks about how to develop that. What are the techniques to develop one-pointedness? It's, you know, the why, when, and how, the prerequisites of it. We can't just say focus. It's, we all go around the world, we tell our kids, we tell each other, stay focused, stay focused. There's 5 chapters of what that really means, you know, that we have to be ready. We have to do those prerequisites. One of the small ones we talked about earlier is how to make decisions quicker so they don't cloud us, right? That we're talking about the decision between action A and action B. If you sit and start to contemplate for every decision, what would Swami do? What would this happen? What would that happen? You are bogging you're weighing down your brain cells, and then you're fatigued, and you can't be one, you know, single pointed focus, right? That's his like crucial point. He talks about developing skills, right? Developing these skills. How do you develop them in chapter 9? He talks about how you need to be like a child or a desolate animal that is pure, innocent, you know, that's not clouded. You need to be back like you were in this picture, right? We need to be as a baby without anything clouding us. That's the only way we're going to actually live in God and be one with God. He talks about the purpose being liberation, right? He talks about having liberating actions. Listen to these words: liberating actions versus binding actions, right? Action is an action, right? Wrong, right? That's what I thought. But there are we take actions in our life that are liberating, that makes us feel good the instant we do it because we knew it was right inherently. We absolutely knew. We didn't need to double take on it at all. We didn't need to second guess. We know it, and that's when we get to that stage more and more and more. I know some of us get already there in some decisions, but not in others. But when we make that a way of life, we have the ability to meditate in the true sense of what Dhyana Vahini is talking about. Obviously, we need to get rid of our impulses, right? The ceilings, all those things that we've talked about that affect us. Hear no evil, see no evil, do no evil, right? Very, very important in spiritual practice of Dhyana that's ingrained towards meditation, ultimate meditation. And then lastly, in chapter 14, he talks about removing defects, right? Not saying they're bad, recognizing them and systematically removing them from the very beings that we are. And every time we remove one of these defects, and I'm sure we'll talk about what those defects are later in the summer, but every time we remove one of these defects, we get closer to being able to meditate the way Swami wants us to meditate. So this entire book, an entire compilation, all 63 pages are directed towards like readiness for meditation, not actually looking at a lamp and doing the meditation. That's a very, very small part of it. What I found was profound is all of these other nuggets of information and nuggets of wisdom buried in this Vahini, which I absolutely loved. And Dipender, thank you for giving me this opportunity, because now I have a summer to look forward to study this really deeply with all of you. So one of my favorite examples is, and we'll close with this, is the famous story of the Mahabharata, the story of Drona teaching his a few students archery. I'm sure many of you have heard this, if not all of you. But when Drona was teaching archery to students, he asked them to shoot a bird on the tree by aiming for its eye. He then gave them one by one and showed them the bird and asked them, what did they see as they were aiming for the bird? Everyone except Arjuna said that they saw the tree, the branches, the bird, the leaves, and many of them, all of them actually, missed the target, missed actually hitting the bird. And so when it was Arjuna's turn, Drona inquired him the same way. Drona says, "What do you see?" Arjuna said, "I see darkness." He said, "What? You see darkness?" He said, "Yes, I only see darkness." He says, "You don't see the tree, the the leaves, the branches, the grass. You don't see any of that?" He said, "Nope, I just see the darkness." And then when he went on to say that the darkness he sees is the blackness in the middle of the bird's eye. And that's how focused and one-pointedness Arjuna was on his target. And obviously, he was the only student who got the target on the first shot. So that story has always resonated with me. I know many of you have shared it at the center on other occasions, but that's what we're getting to. That's what we're aiming to, because his mind was so uncluttered. He was able to focus on his goal. And obviously, the moral is the more we are able to do that, the more we're able to achieve our own goals. And lastly, I want to close with the fact that we know he's right beside us. The problem is we're all busy doing lots of things and we don't recognize it. So we need to walk with him and make sure we are available for him. He's always there, but we need to be available for him. Thank you, and Sairam, we can open it up for any questions. I know we're at the top of the hour.
John, I think you found the most practical book to read. You always focus on doing rather than theory, as you say. And I was reminded of there are no coincidences, only incidences. This was meant to be for you.
Exactly. And I had such a as I mentioned earlier, I was like, oh my God, I have to read a book on meditation. I'm going to shoot myself. And it turned out to be something completely different. And now it's something for me to do in the summer to prepare for some of these courses. I have it on my phone. It's available online. Deepinder Bhai has sent it out. We can put it on the website as well. Thank you, Saritaji. You're so right. Anything else, guys? We should probably move to our closing prayers if everybody's good. Thank you for your participation. I learned a lot from the comments, and also to know that we're all in it together, because most of us haven't read this, and it's a wonderful opportunity to go through this beautiful compilation over the summer and discuss it. Thank you, Sairam.
Thank you. Great session. Thank you, John Bhai.